Alright, I know I said that we would work on the enemies firing back this video, but let's add a sprint because it's way too fun not to. Being able to get around the room a lot faster. It's just cool. So it'll be a fun ad. Let's jump over into ours. We'll go into our player blueprint. The first thing we need to do is actually set up the functionality. So that's our thing there. We'll just go down the list. That's our interact. I'm going to move that over here somewhere. So I'm going to put this on left shift. And when we push the left shift, this is going to activate our sprint. We want to first check to see if we are crouching. If we are, we're going to do an event that gets us out of it. If we're not, then we want to check to see if we are aiming. Because I want this to basically be an override, so it's like, oh crap, you got to move quick, and this cancels out everything else. So we're going to see if we're aiming. We'll set up our false line so we can go ahead and get it in place. And basically all we're going to do is we're just going to adjust our walk speed up to about 600. Now we'll do the rest of this basically in the player blueprint until we come back to fix those other things. Oh, we will need a boolean, so we'll add a B sprint, and then we'll set that true over here, and then on released we'll see if it's true, and if it is, we'll set it back to false and then do our adjust walk speed. The reason we're doing it that way is because when we might do the same thing, so we'll have if we start aiming, it'll cancel out our sprint, but since it has a speed adjust, we don't want it to mess with this one, so we can just disable that boolean and not have to worry about the rest of this. But if we are sprinting and we let go, we still want to be able to do that, so it'll help us. It's like a kill switch. So let's go to our blend space and then to our blueprint. So characters, player, anim pieces, and we're going to use the armed lower. We're just going to use, since it's going to be full speed, we don't have to worry about any of the rest of this. I am going to up the maximum axis value for the speed. I'm going to set that to 600, and then I'm going to set the grid divisions back to 8. Then we'll just need to set our window again. Our jog speed is 450, so I'm going to set it up to here, which is 464, so that he'll be inside that window right there when he's moving, until we push sprint, and then it'll be up here. And for that one, we are going to use, we got just the one, sprint forward. We'll set it right there, and then when we push it, he should go into that. Now let's just take a look, see. Into our AVP, because he ain't gonna do nothing right now. Well, that's not true. He has one of them set up somewhere, so it should at least show the legs sprinting. Alright, so we know he's getting fast enough. I let go and it's still not letting go though, so that's no good. Left shift released, it's sprint, yes. Aiming false, sprint true, set sprint. Oh, dummy. Remember to adjust your values when you copy paste. So now, yeah, but I want it to have his arm doing the running animation, since he won't be able to aim or do anything anyway. Well, that's not true, he'll be able to reload, but we need to go get our boolean, because we're going to set up another state. Right click, promote that to a variable, be sprinting. Drag that down in place underneath the crouch. And then we'll just do this in a cross fashion, so I'm going to add a state. This will be our sprint. and everything will go into it, and it will release back to the base state, because if we're armed, it'll basically jump here real quick because it'll transition states real quick, or if we're going into crouched, it'll just, you won't even see it. So let's compile. Base to sprint, can enter transition, then get our next list. Armed to sprint, yes. Crouched to sprint, same. Sprint to base, this is the one that will be sprinting, is not. Compile it all. Now we need to set up the actual base animation. So we'll go into the sprint, and we'll just use our armed lower that we already made, since we don't got to worry about what his arms are doing, because it'll be handled by this. So we don't have to blend it or anything. So we'll set in our direction and our speed, compile that, back out to the play window, pull out the rifle so he's got the right one. Actually, it should go no matter what he's going into. It's just without the rifle, he'll still do like he's holding one. Now I have it set up to where if we push the button while we're aiming, it doesn't do anything yet. But we can sprint around. Ooh, wait, what? I thought he was running fast and aiming. It's not a bug, it's a feature. But we can set it up. So if he's crouched, we basically want to do an event that says stop crouching, and if he's aiming, we want to do an event that says stop aiming. So what we'll do is we'll just create two custom events. Stop crouch, and one more custom event, stop aim. Now we'll just attach these to our, there's our crouching. So we will readjust this a little bit. So we're going to go into, actually we don't need to readjust, we'll just do this. So if we're crouching, it'll automatically do all this stuff for us. And right here at the end, we'll just add an OR boolean and see if we're sprinting. The readjustment we will need to do is make it to where it's up here that we set the sprint to true. Since it's going to override everything anyway, should be fine. We just want to make sure that that sprint is set to true before we call this up here to do the check to see if it's true. So crouched, we will call our stop crouch, and then feed that into our next branch where we will feed our stop aim, and then into there. So for our stop aim, very similar. We go to our aim function. And if aiming, then we just do our stop. And same thing for here, we'll do an OR boolean, or sprinting. Then we'll back that thing up to there. And now, take a little look-see. Sprinting, aiming, firing, releasing, what's happening? Alright, so what we want to do, if we start aiming, then we want to set sprint to false. Because it'll do our adjustment speed, but then when we release it won't do our stuff. So when we do start aiming, we set our sprint to false, so it overrides. Same thing with our control here. So if it's true, then we set sprint to false. And then they'll override each other also. So sprint, aiming, still holding the shift, and he's still doing that, right? Okay, so that is overridden. sprint, crouch. Oh, kneecapped. So now we can sprint to our barriers to get in place, crouch behind it, and lay waste. Cool. Alright, so yeah, this one was just too fun not to add, so in the next one, we will add the shooting back, with the sound effects, the particle effects, all that jazz. But I thought this one would be fun, so alright, see y'all then.